Recently, prior to coronavirus outbreak, the sold-out inaugural AGBU Women Shaping the World conference with over 200 attendees from across the region, as well as from New England and California, spent the day in a company of exemplary female leaders who are making transformational change through their career, philanthropy, and volunteer work. In celebration of International Women's Day 2020 and 100th anniversary of the ratification of women's right to vote in America, Conference Day in downtown Manhattan began with the morning breakfast, getting to know and interact with each other before the conference, which was organized by a committee of distinguished women with 3 goals in mind: to provide a forum for sharing insights and ideas on challenges and opportunities facing women socially and professionally, to create a space to work in solidarity towards gender equality and women's rights at home and abroad, and give women a platform for networking and exploring career development strategies with guidance from industry specialists. The diversity and scope of conference attracted a mix of co-sponsors, including Seta Nazarian and the Inglestad Foundation as primary contributors, as well as global names such as Citi Private Banking, WeWork, and L'Oréal Paris, in addition to Conges, Fine Jewelry, and Keramo Cakes. The conference began with welcoming remarks by Advisory Committee Co-Chair Claudia Nazarian, who set the tone of 3-part agenda. She assured guests that the conference was the first in many more to come.
In this year 2020, it marks the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the women's right to vote in the United States. And on this centennial, I am so proud, on behalf of the AGBU, to welcome you to the inaugural Women Shaping the World conference. So getting here today required teamwork, which women are often very good at. We were fortunate to have a very solid committee of women of different ages and different professions. And as always, we had the incredible support of the office, the AGBU office. And our goal for today is that you will come away feeling enlightened and inspired. You'll be challenged to do more, that you'll make connections and see the potential in all the amazing women around you, that you'll listen and you'll learn from all the women you'll be hearing from today about the ways they have shaped and continue to shape the world.
AGBU Central Board Member and Co-Chair of the AGBU Global Women Empowerment Initiative, Ani Manukyan, highlighted the AGBU legacy of female empowerment and presented a brief overview of AGBU's century-old commitment to the elevation of Armenian women in society.
On behalf of the AGBU Central Board of Directors, I welcome you all. It is wonderful to see so many familiar faces, but even nicer to see so many new faces. Welcome. I'd like to take a few moments here to introduce our great organization. So many of you know AGBU as the world's largest Armenian nonprofit organization. We were founded well over a century ago, and our efforts stem from 4 strategic pillars: education, culture, humanitarian services, and socioeconomic development of our nation. In short, we are here to promote the prosperity and well-being of all Armenians, thereby advancing the global Armenian nation. So what makes AGBU unique? We boast globally connected local communities. We manage a robust physical presence in Armenia. We have a wide circle of strategic alliances and partnerships. And what I love the most is we ensure succession of our leadership with the success of our global YP network. Here, you can get a quick snapshot of all the countries where we have a physical presence or committee. Of course, with the help of our vast online initiatives, we actually touch over 100 different countries across the globe. AGBU has been one of the most progressive and supportive forums for women since the earliest days. I'm excited to share with you a few examples that have inspired me personally. AGBU was founded in 1906. About a decade later, in 1917, the first Central Ladies Committee was formed in Cairo, Egypt. They added sister groups in Alexandria, followed by Manchester, England. And their mission was to clothe as many children of the Armenian genocide as possible. With their network, which reached from Melbourne to Addis Ababa and all over Europe, they managed to collect 58,000 articles of clothing and send them to Palestine and to Syria. So for me, how's that for a group of movers and shakers and mobilizers, 1917. AGBU's leadership was also highly focused on saving, rehabilitating, and caring for our women and girls. They opened countless women's shelters and orphanages and worked to bring Armenian women out of Turkish homes. They established educational initiatives like trade schools, all-girls schools, and they encouraged the well-being and financial independence. In fact, in 1939, AGBU's second school was an all-girls school. Here's a fact I recently learned which made me the most proud. Most board of directors at the time were all men. Women joined AGBU's Central Board of Directors as early as the late 1940s. And of course, leading to 1989, our first female president, Mrs. Louise Manoukian-Simon, led the charge during Armenia's independent years. And I know that she would have been thrilled to see this forum today. She really would. So now here we are. In AGBU's vast sea of volunteer committees across the board, women hold about 40% of our chairman positions. And with our younger generation of the YPs, that number is 55%. This reason makes me happy, but it's not for a statistical one. It's merely to say that our voices do matter. We can balance the conversation. We add value to the pool of visionaries and creators in our male counterparts. We are listeners, we are problem solvers, we are collaborators. We have hundreds of thousands of success stories amongst us.
The guest speaker segment opened with keynote remarks by Suni Harvard, the president of UBS Asset Management. Long known for her advocacy in support of women leaders in finance and business, Harvard described her own career path as mostly unplanned and more a succession of opportunities that opened doors to others.
Women own 40% of private businesses in both the US and China. Women farmers produce 60 to 80% of food in developing countries, 60% of all global micro-entrepreneurs. 1 billion women will enter the workforce in the coming decade, fundamentally shifting how the world works. Women became the majority of the workforce in the United States for the first time in history in 2010. Globally, women earn more associate, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. And in the past 15 years, the number of women-owned firms grew at 1.5 times the rate of the national average. Most recent data showing that over 8.6 million women-owned businesses in the US, generating over 1.3 trillion in revenues and employing 7.8 million people. So the business implications of this are, of course, incredibly important. Business diversity is, by definition, then good business. Much has been done to eliminate issues that apparently still exist everywhere. Working Mother magazine just named 17 financial services among the best companies to work for, 2 in the top 10. Financial services is a top industry for women's advancement. So some things have changed, but some things have not. Catalyst notes that women represent over 50% of the global population, earn 57% of bachelor degrees, as I said earlier, make 73% of consumer decisions. And yet women represent less than 5% of Fortune 500 CEOs, make up only 6.3% of the executive officer positions, and hold only 15% of the board seats. So some things have changed, but some things have not. Women still fall out of company ranks way too fast. 30% at the director level, 15% at the partner or managing director level in my industry after starting at 50. So why is it women fail to gain that ground? I have my suspicions, and it comes down, and it's really a longer conversation, that I think we have focused all of our efforts to date on bringing the individual to power and empowering an individual. What we need to do is change the institutions.
Panel mediator Alexis Alexanian, an independent producer and former president of New York Women in Film and Television, opened the discussion with 2 high-powered Armenian women who exemplified the shaping the world concept. Mary Ellen Iskandarian, president and CEO of Women's Work Banking, the world's largest network of microfinance institutions and banks, and Karin M. Martin, a leading luxury brands executive who co-founded RAD, which partners with celebrity talent and brands to use the red carpet for advocacy and social good.
Maybe I'll start with you, Mary Ellen. Tell us a little bit, give us a snapshot of your work as CEO and a snapshot of how you got there.
I started my career at Bank of America as a foreign exchange trader, and just had a wonderful experience, learned so much about, I had been an undergraduate economics major and, really seeing how economics and the markets, interplayed together. My family still to this day thinks the only thing I learned on the trading floor was how to swear very effectively. But it was a wonderful preparation. But I kind of knew that I wanted a less transactional, more client-focused part of a finance career. And I kept being told I had to have an MBA to do that. And so I went and did my my master's degree, and then went to dearly departed Lehman Brothers as an investment banker, and again had an amazing experience there and learned a great deal. But really, pretty early on in my experience as an associate, just kept feeling this real tension between my values, the things that I was pretty sure that finance could help people achieve, and the change that you could make in their lives, and what we were doing. And for me, my sort of watershed, come to Jesus moment, I always think about it, is the firm had been hired by a large U.S. trucking company to find an acquisition candidate. And so we did a whole bunch of pro forma balance sheets. And it was the first deal, the first assignment that I was not the most junior person on the team. And I had an analyst working for me. And I was determined to be a really good boss. And it was this really hardcore, it was an Israeli guy. He'd just gotten out of the Israeli Defense Forces. He had slicked back hair, and he was wearing, suspenders, and the whole, sort of Gordon Gekko for the older people in the room, that whole look. And he did this great model, and he couldn't wait to show it to me. And I kept seeing like this plug figure at the bottom of his balance sheet for each of the different pro formas that our client and the different company to acquire. And I said, what are you using as your plug figure? And he said, oh, well, that's the number of people that will have to be fired in the acquisition company in order to make the deal work. And it was just, and I'm sure that had been going on all along, but it was just such a huge wake-up call for me. I was teamed on, was with a woman who just, totally coincidentally, had run what's called the Young Professionals Program at the World Bank. And this was their sort of main, highly competitive, entry-level program. And my undergraduate degree that I just referred to was in development economics. And I had always sort of looked at the World Bank as a place that I'd maybe aspire to go to. And she said, it's really hard for Americans to get in. It's usually the way that we bring in professionals from developing markets, but I'll give you a strong recommendation. They need your skills. And so I applied, and really, to my great astonishment, I got into the program. And it was, I was super excited, moved to Washington, and then I'm going to date myself here. 4 months later, the Berlin Wall fell. And so for the next 10 years, I just had the experience of a lifetime, building in some cases, rebuilding in other cases, financial systems, financial bureaucracies, financial regulatory bodies, banks, leasing companies, insurance companies, every kind of financial institution in the Central and Eastern Europe, and then eventually the former Soviet Union, including Armenia, which was really an extraordinary. Never been colder in my life than I was in Armenia when I worked there. But it really, it allowed me to see that finance really could be a force for change in people's lives. And it was the first time that I saw microfinance really up close, because in many of the countries that we were working in, microfinance institutions were the first non-government-owned financial institutions. And the idea that someone could give you a loan to help you start a business and be your partner in growing that business, and that could be a bank, was just completely unknown to these people that we were working with. And it was the experience of a lifetime, and I will always be so grateful to have had it. And I guess I think I'll just close with, I feel like I've been talking a long time here, is that my biggest regret at the bank is that all of those years and all of those banks and all those equity funds and all of those companies that I helped set up and invest in, I never once asked any of them, how many loans do you have to women? How many business owners how many women business owners are you supporting? How many of your depositors are women? And I still to this day am so grateful that the board of Women's World Banking took a chance on me when I was so incredibly blind to that economic powerhouse that we very, very beautifully heard detailed by Suni. Now it's like one of those things you can't unsee. I see everything through that incredible economic opportunity that women present for financial service providers, and what giving women not just access to financial services, but control over those financial resources can mean for themselves, for their families, their communities. What a great business that is for the financial service providers who are alive to that business opportunity, and to the economies as a whole.
Karina, what you've decided to do with RAD. So would you give us a little bit of a snapshot beyond the program of how you got there, and tell us how RAD actually works? There are some similarities.
Yes. RAD, which the name, thank you, is loosely based on red carpet advocacy, but the red carpet is not only literal, it's figurative in the sense that it represents any major global platform, and what RAD does is infuse those platforms with purpose. So essentially, we partner talent and brands, and by talent I mean celebrities, people of influence. We partner them, and brands represent not only money, but they also have influence, and they have communities. But it's partnering the two to create communities through cause, to celebrate culture through purpose, and most importantly, to inspire the public towards social progress. The idea is it's taking platforms and using them to make people aware of what's happening in the world.
Would you give us an example of one sort of brand and celebrity that you put together that had a big impact, so that we could see it sort of the life cycle of that?
Yeah, so let's see. We've only been around a year. We've actually done quite a bit, which has been really exciting, because I think people are really hungry for something more. I mean, people from, whether you're working for a brand or you're a celebrity yourself, everybody wants it all to make sense, wants it all to be about something bigger than our individual selves. But the movie Once Upon a Time was coming out, and my business partner, Ariane Phillips, who was actually nominated for an Oscar for costume design for that film.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, the Quentin Tarantino movie. Mm-hmm. Ari and I met during my Prada days, because that's when she started working with Madonna, who she worked with for 22 years, and defining her entire artistic presence through fashion and design and whatnot. So Ariane had costume designed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and this was a movie that was getting so much attention, continued to do so. And we had been talking to Levi's, and Levi said, we really want to do something for this film. And we thought, okay, great, well, let's bring in the cast, and let's do an event the day after the premiere, and it'll just be the cast, and we will celebrate a couple of the stars in the film through philanthropy.
Brad Pitt?
No, no. Not Brad
Sorry.
Pitt. Not Brad Pitt. Well, we brought in Margot Robbie and Austin Butler, and we did an event for Margot's charity. Now, Margot grew up, her mother worked with disabled youth, and she's from Australia, and she picked this small charity called Young Care. I'm going to start getting emotional. That helps disabled youth. So sorry. It's just the work that they do is so beautiful.
It's okay.
And she was really passionate about it, and we created an event to celebrate her work as an actress and her work as somebody who cares about something else. So we did a dinner. Levi's made a very generous donation to Young Care. And we invited the executive director to come from Australia to sit next to Margot at this dinner and to tell the audience of all the young talent and the producers from the film about this organization. And it was wonderful, because we all have platforms. So all those people at that dinner also have platforms. And it's not just about Margot, and it's not just about the donation from Levi's. It's about everybody being a part of something and using their moment and their platform, their audiences, their communities for something better.
AGBU launched Empower Her multidimensional initiative was designed to promote gender equality in Republic of Armenia, a country in which women are still struggling for a seat at the table in business, economy, and politics. AGBU Central Board member Arda Harutyunyan highlighted multiple ways that Empower Her can help Armenians women gain social and economic independence, including learning workspace fundamentals and enrolling for trainings from coding and IT to entrepreneurship and community leadership, along with cycle of support through alumni services.
AGBU Empower Her is the result of more than a year and a half of hard work with our team in Armenia, and we have our staff here and volunteers here. It's a pathway to an empowered life, but not one, it's several pathways. So it gives opportunities depending on where people are and what they need. It's a broad, sweeping, multidimensional global initiative to transform the lives of Armenia's women and girls. And because we are so sure that you transform the life of a girl, a woman, you will change the communities, the companies they work in, and the nation that they create. The foundational principles are very important. Number one, we want to tackle the root causes. We all are involved in our organizations here, wherever we're from, where you help people after they've been abused, after they've been a victim of something, after they've become bankrupt. We want to try to help people at the youngest ages. So we're trying to change mindsets, and we try to empower from within. Number two is partner and collaborate. We want to reduce duplication and we want to increase impacting. We had about 15 organizations, and the ideas in that room of how we can collaborate and partner and honestly increase our impact by being much more efficient with the use of our resources. And I am telling you, we just touched the tip of the iceberg. So that is one of the foundational principles. Addressing root causes starts with younger people. And that's why we're targeting both boys and girls ages 12 to 17 and women in the 20 to 40 age group. Why boys and girls? Because if you don't change the mindsets of the boys, you are not going to impact what happens long. So in a nutshell, Empower Her will educate, invest, mentor, and develop leaders and engage in change mindsets. Obviously, Hygiene is incredibly successful, and they continue. They just opened another center that's 30 years, almost 30 years in the making. Women Entrepreneurs, which is a little down the list, that's the second year. It's already a proven program. We just entered into an agreement. Some of you support the Women's Support Center, Maro Matosyan. We have started a program, AGBU Stepping Out. So if women who emerge from her program want to find a way into financial independence so that they can basically be empowered to step away from the abusive relationships, we are trusting Maro to use our resources to give them what they need. Then I will point to the Youth Empowerment Program. We are looking for partners. We already are in discussions with several to get into schools and after-school programs to reach kids where they already are together and teaching them everything from financial literacy to how to respect the other gender to what opportunities they could have. The Workplace Fundamentals course is basically a business basics class, and women from across Armenia will have to apply to it. In that class, they will learn everything from Microsoft Office to financial literacy to public speaking to writing an email. So you think of the skills each of you use every day. To some women in Armenia, all they need to do is be taught. That's it. When they emerge from that program, if they pass with a certain grade, they will then be able to go into one of three tracks. Either the Women Entrepreneurs Program, which is obviously a very demanding one, into a program that teaches coding and IT skills, and our team in Armenia has already met with several companies who have told us what skills they need and what internships they can offer. And at some point, we're hoping to get commitments for how many people they will hire. Our hope is that this program is successful and we're able to expand it into other sectors as well. And then finally, the third track is community change makers. Civic engagement is critical to women succeeding anywhere, especially in Armenia, where we have one minister who is a woman, and this isn't the new government. How many women can serve? How many women can contribute? So we are hoping to develop community change makers through leadership training and other types of skills that would let them expand their own opportunities, get engaged in their communities, and do good. And this will also lead to professional success. So those are the components of the AGBU Empower Her program.
Arda Harutsunyan also invited the attendees to get involved in the Empower Her initiative through volunteering, connecting, mentoring, fundraising, donating, and other ways to help enhance the role of Armenian women in business and society.
Everyone in this room is empowered to help empower her. These are just some of the ways that immediately everyone here can get involved, and we will be leaving this conference today having smaller discussions. If you express your interest, we'll find the opportunities to share how you can help. But mentors are one way. And the first question you may say is, well, I don't plan to be in Armenia. How am I going to do that? Thanks to digital technology, there's plenty of ways you can do it. So coaching or instructing remotely. One idea that is being explored is, what if the young professionals in this room have no time, but you would be willing to spend half an hour on a Sunday night, which is Monday morning in Armenia, to help someone's English skills? Just get on a FaceTime with them for half an hour and talk. That's it. It's like having a pen pal. We used to have pen pals. So purchasing the products and services from these women entrepreneurs, introducing AGBU Empower Her to your company's corporate social responsibility team. Almost every company has it now. And linking our initiative to other programs you may be involved with. We will find ways to partner and collaborate. And speaking about partnership, this is not only with Armenian organizations. Organizing fundraisers or fundraisers in your home. This is not an immediate thing. Sometimes we just want friends. That is Empower Her.
It's unstoppable.
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 A global movement of women on the march to equality.
Human rights, personal safety.
A seat at the table.
A piece of the pie.
Armenia's women cannot be left behind. It's time to turn the clock forward and put the women of Armenia in focus.
To say yes to dignity,
self-respect,
self-sufficiency, and self-fulfillment. To be players in the new economy, not victims of outworn traditions. To be role models for young girls and symbols of a truly free society.
Because women like Shushan and Anushan Danora,
Arpine, Anik, and Ani,
and so many struggling women across urban and rural Armenia and Artsakh
have hopes and dreams, just like you and me.
And me.
And me. That's why there's AGBU We.
It stands for Women Entrepreneurs, a one-year program to break the cycle of poverty with a cycle of support. Everything these inspired ladies need to gain financial independence, the master key to an empowered life.
The women of We take a special course in entrepreneurship through the American University of Armenia Extension Program,
and work with mentors from the worldwide diaspora to help them start up or scale up a micro enterprise or home business. In fields like agriculture, art,
food, fashion,
education, tourism, and manufacturing.
Plus, there are networking opportunities and regular follow-ups to keep goals on track. They even engage in pitch battles to compete for mini grants.
With a 360 approach to transforming lives, AGBU We needs you.
FYI, women make up over half of Armenia's population.
So when the women of Armenia succeed,
so do their families,
their communities,
their country, and at the end of the day, the global Armenian nation.
As a very wise Armenian woman once said,
the true character of a nation is revealed
in how it treats its women.
That means
AGBU We
reflect on us.
Let the transformation begin.
The reminder of the day was industry breakout sessions. It was dedicated to networking and advice gathering to small roundtables grouped by industries. The sessions allowed participants to explore industry-specific issues and questions. The finance group, led by Mary Ellen Iskandarian, representing entrepreneurs, small business owners, and leaders in global companies like PayPal, PwC, IBC, and the World Bank, discussed topics from creating informal female support systems in male-dominated offices to asking for the same opportunities and responsibilities as men. The Medicine and Health Group shared insights on how to approach mentors in their field and how best to offer their skills in Armenian world. Television and entertainment sessions led by Alexis Alexanian explored ways for aspiring creative types to build their personal brands and profiles on social media. The philanthropy and volunteerism session led by Seta Nazarian weighted the pros and cons of starting a nonprofit organization from scratch versus partnering with more established organizations, thereby ceding some of the decision-making power. The communication and marketing group led by Arda Hartunian discussed the benefits of finding mentors and proactively reaching out to established professionals without fear of rejection. Positive feedback from sessions was consistent among the groups.
For us, it's so important as young Armenian women to be here and get inspired by so many wonderful and successful role models out there. We're lucky that this started this year, and hopefully we'll see many more to come. And I encourage everybody that didn't make it this year to come on the next years and check out the Empower Her project, which is a new one that started the year to 2020, and it was launched today. So I invite you all to check it out at AGBU, and we have a lot of work to do in the future.
I'm so happy to be here at the Women Shaping the World event with AGBU. It's so amazing and inspiring to be here amongst all of these great women and professionals and getting to meet people that I've never met before. So I'd like to thank AGBU for holding this event.
I'm so excited that we have an event like this that is bringing Armenian women together to change the world, to change Armenia, and to make new friendships. And all the speakers were very inspirational and very admiring as well.
First of all, I would really like to express my happiness that this project that have started 2 years ago with the Women Empowerment Initiative is really taking wings, and it's growing and it's scaling up. And now today we launched the Empower Her project, which has many other components, and it's going to be implemented in Armenia, starting with empowering not only women, but also girls in schools and also boys, to change the mindset of the young generation, how to treat each other and how to empower each other, because a society needs to be balanced. And I think the most important impact in the long run will be a very well-educated society that respects from both sides. And of course, when you empower women, you're empowering 50% of the society, which is going to bring added value to the entire homeland and at the end to the Armenian nation as a whole.
I really wanted to have an event where we can get all the women, the young up-and-coming girls, give them inspiration, enlighten them, connect them to each other, networking, create networking opportunities, and hopefully with these Armenian networks, the women help each other and succeed, and ultimately it should expand globally, help women in Armenia, because that's the only way we can get better, by women supporting each other, creating opportunities to network.
Today was a breakthrough day for the AGBU, leading this incredible conference with over 230 women who gathered from a variety of professional backgrounds, variety of ages, a variety of great demographics that was represented here from Europe to the States. And really it was women coming together to talk about issues about how we can, as a group, move forward in our professional careers, in our connection to our being Armenian, and how we can help each other.
As a man, I was someone who will never fully understand the conflict women go through in the workplace or other settings. It was extremely grateful to know what I can do on my behalf to support their endeavors and for everyone to succeed, and not just in the US or in Europe or anywhere, but in Armenia especially. And that was just an amazing experience overall.
What a wonderful morning to celebrate women and International Women's Day in a circle of so many successful and talented Armenian women. Women Shaping the World is a wonderful conference that I hope will become an annual tradition to celebrate each other's achievements, to really embrace each other and support in any way we can. We also learned about Empower Her initiative, which launched today. What an initiative to support women back home in Armenia, and myself and many other professionals that have Armenian heritage and pride will be participating and trying to support in any way we can to help Armenians to feel more comfortable and confident back in motherland. So we're there with you. We'll support you, whether it's from America or back home.
AGBU launched Empower Her at agbu.org for the ideas and suggestions for the future forums. Since 1906, AGBU has remained true to one overreaching goal: to create a foundation for prosperity for all Armenians. To learn more about the organization, visit www.agbu.org.